Hi, hello, and welcome to my channel. I'm Casey, and I'm an artist. I cover everything from song and music video reactions to covers of songs to my own music. So if that's something that you're interested in, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Today I'm going to be doing something non-music related though. Yeah, my channel mainly is music, but I do have other passions in life. Music is probably my main one, but there's been other topics I want to branch out on, and other passions I want to just express on my channel. And this is a topic I've been wanting to talk about for a long time, and finally I've gotten more active on my YouTube, so I want to bring it to life on this channel. And yes, I am going to be doing more non-music related content this year and beyond, but it's not going to be as consistent. So don't worry, I'm still gonna do all the reactions and all that, but just as a little side note for y'all who might be a little bit confused. So today I'm discussing a topic that affects me in my everyday life, and it's the objective opinion that I'm not black enough. Now, I feel like, and I know that I'm not the only black person who's experienced this, even just not even black, like I know other minorities in America who've experienced this. I'm also in the entertainment industry as an actress, and yeah, firsthand, like we get stuff. There's like a lot of roles are very stereotypical, very, I don't know. You're constantly being told that like you're not black enough for the role to fit into a negative stereotype. All the time being told to sound blacker, act blacker, and I just think it's a topic that's widely relatable, and I think it's a topic that needs to be discussed for people who are unaware that they might be offending people by saying this. So I want to be informative with this video, but without being boring. So I'm just gonna pull from my personal experience. First off, my ethnicity, I am black. So a lot of people, because I'm very light-skinned, they either think that I'm partly Hispanic or that I'm Hispanic, or a lot of people think I'm half white. I know I'm not 100% black. I mean, none of us are 100% of anything, but and I haven't taken a DNA test yet, but I know that both of my parents are black. I'm just very light-skinned, so I identify as black. That's what I write on all my paper, and when I'm filling out papers for a job and everything, I put African American. So getting it down to it, and the basis of this video is just what it's like to be, deemed not black enough or acting white in this American society. So a little story time. I'm just gonna take you back to the first time I remember being basically called an Oreo. If you don't know what that is, infer. So I was about 15. I was a sophomore in high school. And at the time I couldn't drive by myself. So after school, I'd always wait outside for my mom to pick me up like a loser. No, I'm just kidding. But I would be, with my friends and stuff, just like cutting up, talking and whatever. And one day I was just talking to my friend, we were just like joking and laughing and talking. So it was a mixture of his friends, some people I didn't know, and my friends talking. And his friend goes, with disgust on top of that, why do you sound so white? And I just froze. That was the first time anybody ever said anything like that to me. I just froze. I was like, I felt angry, I felt shocked, and I felt embarrassed that he just like said this in front of multiple people. Like, me now would have gone off on him, but me at 15 was way more shy. And also, I still don't always like to like rock the boat. I like to pick and choose my battles. I don't want to always just go off on people, Some people really are just unaware of how ignorant they are. So even though he might not have intended to offend me, it still offended me. So I'm saying things now as to where some instances can be used as a learning moment. I mean, but this guy wasn't gonna budge anyway. He was just an asshole anyway, so he wasn't one of the nicer people who have said this kind of stuff to me. Some people really just don't know how offensive it is. He didn't care either way. And I'm sure he's never thought twice about this instance, like never thought about it at all. But see how I'm talking about this years later, how much it offended me and affected me. So I did want to address it. I didn't want him to just walk all over me, but like I said, I also didn't want to just like, yell and like make a scene. So I was just like, huh? And he says, yeah, like, why do you act so white? And I honestly don't remember what I said. I really feel like I was just so shocked, like, and then I just remember my mom kind of like pulling up in the nick of time, and I was like, all right, I gotta go. She could, you know, with her mom senses, tell that something had bothered me and had upset me. So I just told her what had happened, and I was just like, yeah, like, this guy told me that I sound white. I'm like, how do I act and sound white? Like, how can you act a color? How can you sound a color? So let me break this down for you as to why this offended me, and if you think I'm like offending white people, which I'm not. Or if you're lost because, you know, you've never even heard of this, or I don't know, you're like in a whole different part of the country and you don't really identify with this kind of stuff. So I'm not offending white people when I say this. I'm not saying it's insulting to be a white person. That's not what I'm saying. The reason I'm saying this is insulting is because it's alienating for someone to tell me that I am not black enough or act white when they want to connotate and associate black people with negative stereotypes, which is what this guy was doing. He wasn't saying, you know, I wasn't black enough. Basically, he was saying, what he meant was I wasn't ghetto enough. And ghetto is not even exclusive to just black people, so wake up for one. And also, I've learned as I've grown up, when I do confront somebody and I'm like, oh, well, how do I sound white? And, you know, their explanation is, oh, well, I mean, you just sound so proper. You're just so articulate. Or even, I act white because at one point in time, I was a vegetarian, and that's what white people do. Or I act white because I like, you know, a show or a movie that white people are in, or I listen to Taylor Swift. So what people are telling me that is I can only fit into a box where I only, you know, absorb black media. I can only watch movies with black people in it. I can only listen to black artists. I can only read books by black authors, and I can only associate with just black people. And I'm not here for that. Anyone who knows me knows that I appreciate all cultures. If anything, if somebody's really gonna say I'm not black enough, you could at least say something like you act like a foreigner or some shit like that, because that's more what I feel like I gravitate toward learning about a lot of people's cultures. I like Hispanic culture, Asian culture, white culture, and black culture, and Middle Eastern, whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to, I think it's boring and ignorant AF to just put yourself in a box and not know anything about any other culture in your life. So everything in my life doesn't have to be black for me to be considered black. And I don't neglect my culture at all, so that's not even a point that's ever been made. And people are basically, when they're saying that, telling me I can't sound proper because that's not how a black person is supposed to sound. And I can't get behind that ignorance. Now, that first encounter was when I was 15, and unfortunately dealt with it a lot throughout the rest of high school, part of college. I haven't dealt with it as much in my adult life because not around, you know, a mass amount of people like I was back then. But, you know, I still get it here and there, and, you know, doing this YouTube channel, I'm sure I'm bound to get comments on some of my videos that are saying that, just because there's ignorance everywhere. But I already know what I'm exposing myself, what I'm signing myself up for, and I know people just have these negative stereotypes in their mind, and they can't open up and be open-minded to anything else. And yeah, I just, you know, I've heard it so many times that I basically have just become immune to it. It used to really tear me up, I'm not gonna lie, but it doesn't get under my skin as much. I don't even have the energy to correct people all the time or whatever when they say this. And when I do confront people about this or tell them to elaborate on how it is, you know, I don't sound black or act black, yeah, a lot of them will just deflect and be like, oh, I was just joking. So after I make this video, I might just send people a link to this video, because this is just such a mouthful to say every time, and like I don't have the time or energy to always say this, and you know, people are just gonna think what they think regardless, and some people are so rigid that they're not gonna open up their minds. So yeah, and this isn't just even a white American's perception of black people. Like, the guy who said that was white when I was 15, but I've had Hispanic people say this to me, Asian, other black people, which I'm gonna get to in a minute. I've had people who Or my friends have said this to me, people I care about, and you know, it's so infuriating and it's just ignorant as fuck. And I made so many posts on my Facebook, Twitter, Instagram about this, so this is just another platform I'm using to try to educate people. And I hate when anyone says this, but it especially makes me mad when black people say this to me. And especially black people who say, okay, like for instance, there's a white person or a non-black person and they listen to rap music, or you know, they date a black person and it's all of a sudden, oh yeah, they're black, they got a black card, or oh, like you're invited to the cookout, this and that. And it's like, I've done the same thing for years, you know, and it's still like I have to go the extra mile to prove that I'm black, even though I am black. It doesn't make any sense. And I don't do these things to get validation or anything. It's just, I just naturally do it because I'm naturally black. So it's just like, I don't do, and nothing I've ever done is like to try to gain validation from the black community or anything. You know, I just grew up in a black household, so I just naturally know about black movies and black music and this and that. And it's annoying because that's the bare minimum somebody could do anyway, is just to like a small fragment of our culture, like our music or whatever, or you know, to date somebody black. Like, I've done a lot more than that. I've been very vocal on racial inequities. I've protested, you know, I've gone to an HBCU and I've done a lot, I've been involved with a lot there. So the only way I could ever see somebody telling me that I act white or that I'm not black enough is if I was like that girl on Dr. Phil who was basically like, I'm white.
I'm white. I'm a Caucasian because everything about me is different from an African American.
And basically denying her heritage. I'm not like that. Other than that, black people are not a monolith. We do not have to all act and sound the same. White people in America sure don't. So I don't know why everybody wants to always just fit us in this box. And by saying people sound white who aren't white, you know, this isn't even just for black people. This is for minorities too who have experienced this in America. Because I don't know, you know, overseas if y'all are having the same issues. But by sounding educated, by saying that, you know, you sound white, that's basically saying that white is the only standard and like no other race can sound, you know, educated. And that's a product of racism, and that's one hell of a negative stereotype. So I did make a status about this on my Facebook, and I just want to read some of these comments that were posted. Just, yeah, not obviously I said my piece. Basically it was a way more condensed version of what I just said. And some of these comments, which I might feel like are useful, is from some of my friends. One of my favorites was from my friend Alejandro. He said, "This shows a deeper problem. What is seen as black or brown in my case, or white? I've had this argument several times with people when they pull the color card and say, so let me get this straight. To be educated and speak properly and dress a certain way makes me less of my ethnic group. So by definition, you're telling me you define yourself and those close to you as illiterate and ghetto." I get the look and people simply say, you know, he gets a look and then he says, "Your words, not mine." And he says, yeah, in Mexico, there's no such thing. Nobody ever told him growing up that in Mexico that he was trying to be white, which I said is more of an American issue. So this doesn't exist no matter your shade of skin. Another one of my friends says, "I think a lot of the time anybody from white people to even black people themselves are guilty of thinking everybody is the same, or certain types of people can speak for you. At the end of the day, your ethnicity is your ethnicity, and the world would benefit better if people looked at you as an individual than simply a black person or a white person. You don't talk white, you just have an accent or dialect that other people of any color might have. Everybody has to step up together to fight the stereotypes because it's not right when anybody creates them." Another one of my friends, yep, anti-blackness in the community, would rather uplift white people for doing the bare minimum than uplift the black people for trying to better themselves. Another girl who echoed what I said, blackness is not a monolith. It makes me think of the high school bully mentality. I'm picking on you because I've decided you're not as cool as me. Of course, still trying to figure out how that question of being black enough was even ever a thing. Last time I checked, skin color is just something you have, it's not something you are. So, all in all, if you've learned anything from this, my work here is done. If I change even one person's mind, my work here is done. And I don't hate anyone who has ever thought this or who has ever said this. They're just, you know, unaware or / ignorant, either one, as to why this is offensive. And the next time if you have ever said to somebody, you know, that they're not black enough, they're acting white, whatever, or they're not Hispanic enough, they're not whatever, Asian enough, or oh, you sound white, you don't sound Asian, you don't sound, you know, Latin, you don't sound like a Latino, you sound white, whatever. Just remember there are weight to your words, and you know, unless you're joking, whatever, I know people joke and stuff, but joke around about this kind of stuff, but like there are weight to your words, and so just be careful, because obviously this kind of stuff is stuck with me. So maybe this has affected you, maybe it hasn't. Either way, thank you for taking the time to listen to me and get to know me more, other than outside of my, you know, reaction videos and everything. I hope this was an educational moment for people, and you know, hopefully some people were able to see my point of view. If I was able to change your mind, don't be afraid, just comment down below. I like that. So, and if you can relate to me, if you are black or another minority and you're sick of this, also comment down below. I'm open for discussion on this, if there are any other questions too. If you like this video, please give it a like, subscribe, and share. Until then, I will see y'all on the next video. I hope you'll have an amazing rest of your day, and happy Black History Month. Bye.